So I read a one-day book. I read a play.
All right, fair enough.
This is by Alejandro Casona, La Dama del Alba. And inside, we have an inscription from May 2023 from a certain PJ. Remember, you're always my friend
Ah,
and books boy to Amigo. This was around the time that I went to visit him, and he just left the show, and this was a lovely gift that he gave to me. He's also drawn a snail on there. I don't actually know why he's done that, but fantastic. So this is about a 100-page play, roughly. 100 pages split into four acts.
it's still a pretty long play for 100 pages.
It is. Now you'll see that I was going to say they're not big pages,
Rather,
but they're about normal play length pages, to be honest.
yeah,
They're
that sounds
long
like it's going to
enough.
be like a
Like
good 3 hour play.
maybe it would have been. I would recommend this. Like I would. It's a shame. At the first, I thought I'll do it on Books Boys because I don't think we need to do it on Playboys. Kind of regret that now because I think it would have been a really fun one to talk about. But I'll talk about it now. This is a fantastic play. I don't particularly know the author, but he's part of the generation of 27, so he is contemporary with Lorca. Okay, Lorca is the
Okay.
most famous from that generation. There's a lot of others. Um,
Calderon de la Barca. Yeah.
if you look at the art from that period, that generation, you're getting Salvador Dali, for example. Okay, now
Oh,
I'm just gonna flip through the book to find the
that's Vega.
character list. Well, Lope de Vega is about 300 years
Yeah,
prior.
yeah, I was way off. I was because I was thinking, wait, no, Lorca, Vega, different.
Yeah,
How do I confuse the two? I do not know. Because yeah, that's 1600s with Barca. Uh,
yeah. So we have the main character is La Dama del Alba, which is like the Lady of Dawn, I guess. She's not actually called that in the book. She's called her character is La Peregrina, which means the pilgrim, and she is death.
okay.
And then we have a family. So there's the mother. There's just she's just called the mother. There's the granddad. He's just called the granddad. Um, they have a dead daughter, Angelica, and it's very important to know that they have a dead daughter. And then they've got some kids. The kids' names don't matter that much, but they're Dorina and Andres and Faline. And there's a girl we meet later called Adela. And they have a kind of technically a servant, but she's, Telva. She's one of those servants that's been there that long that she's actually outspoken and just kind of part of the family now, she's friends with the mum, essentially. There is a guy, Martin. Martin was married to Angelica before she died. But they were only married for 3 days. So they dated for like a year, they married, and 2 or 3 days into the marriage, she dies in the river. She drowns.
Oh,
Now, it's now years later. I don't know why he's still hanging around the house. Like, he's hanging around like he's part of the family. He's like, I was married to your daughter for 3 days. Here I am
oh,
again. So why are you, that was 10 years ago. Why are you still here? I don't, maybe I'm too cold. I don't know.
maybe it's just the Spanish family. Once you become part of the family, you never leave.
Yeah, I guess there's a bit of that. And they do have a very good family culture. So here's what happens. Some scenes, so acts 2 and 4 are where the stuff happens. Acts 1 and 3 are more like domestic settings, and the family are just kind of chatting and stuff like that. So they're chatting, and there's a big, there's a time skip. So it's 1 and 2 skip 6 months or something like that, and then 3 and 4. Um, so what happens is, quick summary: family are together, they're having a nice time. Except it's the anniversary of the daughter having died, so the mum is very sad. The others have really gotten over it though. Like they're just like it was a few years ago. We're moving
Okay,
on. They're
that's
they're
fair.
they're remembering her, but and the mother is very selfish to be honest. She keeps going on about, my daughter, my daughter. And Telva, the kind of maid, says, I have 7 dead sons. And the mother's like, yeah, but yours are all buried, so it doesn't count. Mine's lost at sea, so mine's infinitely worse. Woe is me, and just continues, like, immediately dismisses her 7 dead children. And it's all about her. And of course, look, it's sad, obviously. There's trauma, I get it. But,
Yeah,
um,
but I don't think that makes it any. worse
No,
at all.
right? So a pilgrim comes. They also mention the kids aren't allowed to go to school, so they're uneducated and they really want to get an education, but their mother won't let them cross the river because that's where the other girl fell in.
Sure.
Um, Pilgrim comes, and the granddad is like, I've seen this pilgrim before. And she's just like, look, I'm wandering around. Could someone take me in for the night? Give me some food and a bed for the night. I'm traveling everywhere. And the grandfather pulls her aside. He's like, I have seen you before. And then we eventually realize that she is death and that he saw her when the girl died. And he's like, who are you here for? You better not take the kids. You'll have to go through me. And he stands up to death. He's like, you're not taking the kids. And it turns out that they're there for Martin, the son-in-law, and he's kind of like, oh, in that case, it's
Okay, okay.
not
So
so bad.
he gets to be with his dead wife now?
Yeah, so that's nice. Um,
Sure.
Now another girl is about to drown, and we meet Adela, and she's sad. She just has nothing to live for, and she goes to drown. Martin rescues her and brings her in, and immediately the mum's like, "My daughter has come back," and it's like, "Well, calm down, you mad woman! No, it's just a different girl who's in the river, like 5 years later." So they bring her in, and then Death is really confused. And she's like, she was meant to jump in the river, but not for another 7 months. Something's off, and I don't know what. And
Oh,
she
cool.
doesn't take Martin in the end, and she's kind of like, who's meant to die? Like, what's going on? So she leaves, and there's a false hook. She says to the granddad, "You'll eventually be calling me back," but he doesn't. And when she comes back later, he says, "You told me that I would be begging you to come back," and it's like, yeah, that was just a lie, actually. So you kind of think that some tragedy is going to happen that makes him want her back, and no, that was just a lie. As a red herring. So what happens is we have some more family scenes, and then I mean, because it's a short play, I'm just going to have to give the spoilers, otherwise it's not going to go anywhere. This discussion. Basically, here's what happened. We discovered that when the daughter died, the whole town went and looked for her except her husband. Why did her husband not look for her?
He killed her.
She wasn't really dead. She just left him.
Oh,
She rides across. He finds that she's cheating, and she leaves with another man and rides away on a horse
oh
across the river.
no. This is blood-wedding again.
Hmm. And he lets her go. I mean, I think he chases the other guy for a while and doesn't find him, and then just resigns himself that she's left him for someone else. But he never tells the family because he doesn't want to sully her name.
Okay.
So,
Question.
yeah,
They get married. They're married for 3 days, and then she cheats. That is the quickest turnaround.
yeah, that's a pretty quick turnaround, and off she goes
So
with
that's
someone
not really a
else.
question. That's more just a statement. But I was going to ask it in a question way, like,
Yeah, yeah.
was there
I
anything
mean,
else to that, or do we ever find out? She
well,
just never disappeared. That's
yeah.
it.
So she disappears. So now her husband's with the new girl that he rescues from the river, and this girl literally is replacing her. Like he takes her out of the river where the other one was supposed to have died, brings her into the house with the family, and they all just adopt her, and they're like, "Cool, she can stay here. She's nice. She can look after the kids." And she just takes the place, and she can stay in the daughter's room that the mum for years wouldn't let anyone go into, even to clean. They're like, "Cool, she can take the daughter's room," and she just kind of replaces the daughter, and it's a bit weird. But then she's sad and forlorn, and the maid's like, "Why are you so sad and forlorn?" And it's like, "Well, everything is perfect now. I was gonna kill myself, but now I've got this lovely family, but there's still something missing." And she's like, "Yeah, is that something missing? A tall, handsome, dark-eyed gentleman? Wink, wink." And he's like, "Oh no, you know that I like Martin." So they're gonna get together, and we end with there's a ball. There's gonna be a big party, but Death comes back, and now the granddad's really on alert. He's like, "You've come back. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take one of these people? Don't do it." And we think that he'll sacrifice himself potentially if she'll allow it. And
Hmm.
here's the big
Very tempting.
swindle. Now the daughter comes back.
Oh,
And she's like, this girl's in my house. She's got my husband. She's got my mother. She's got my siblings. And she feels aggrieved. But I mean, it's her own fault, right? Like, it's
yeah.
100% her own fault. Um, and the final scene, the pilgrim, the death, basically persuades her, you know what? It was kind of better when you just weren't here. Why come back and mess up everything? Why don't we just kill you now? and that's how it ends.
That's, pretty awesome actually.
It is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those that like every beat throughout this play just kind of keeps you hooked. Like, all right, what's going to happen here?
Yeah,
Because death is there, like always looming over each of these characters, what's actually going to happen?
yeah.